Good afternoon. I'm Susan Mbanda, a student, PhD student at the University of Nairobi, doing Agriculture Information and Communication Management, a staff at Egerton University, and I'm passionate about information technology on sorghum production. So about my poster, it's a research trying to find out the different mobile apps, platforms that farmers in Homa Bay County are using for sorghum production. And so for the few mobile apps that we gathered in Homa Bay County, that is just a minimal percentage compared to what is happening in the urban areas where we have different types of mobile apps, yet our farmers in the rural, or for this matter, the sorghum farmers don't know about. They have the DigiFarm, we have the Mbegu Choice, which if you check from your mobile platforms, you are able to see different and many more mobile apps. Yet, at the rural level, in any case, if they are using them interactively or not. So my results, we will see that from the posters, and I'm inviting you kindly to be there, listen to what I have to present, and we have our way forward from what we are inventing, from the innovations, and from the technologies that we are taking to our farmers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Susan. Susan says lots of many digital platforms. She mentions Baby Choice has now been in force for quite some time, and she says people don't know about them, they have no access to them, and these are raw farmers. Please visit Susan's poster. I'm glad you're doing PhD. Well done for you. Good for you. Just before he speaks, after he finishes, I'll give you 5 minutes. You have to go and pick your bags from wherever you left them, because they need that all. That's what they asked me to tell you. Please, just let him finish, and then we take 5 minutes.
Good afternoon. My name is Humphrey Kerr. By profession, information and knowledge management specialist. Representing a partnership known as a Center for Quality Health and Literacy Kenya, and also Right Point Information Services, where I work as a knowledge management consultant. So my poster is about using knowledge management effectively for organizations to work in partnerships. Like we realized during the presentation in the main hall, there was the feeling that organizations are working in silos independently. We have projects maybe in the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Agriculture, but people are working independently in silos. So the idea of knowledge management is to be able to make people to collaborate, work together on a common platform using information technology. So I invite you to visit me. I have the poster in the main hall at the exit. In that case, we are looking at aspects that need to be integrated, like collaboration, monitoring, evaluation and learning, and also the aspect of communication. So I just want to invite you, then we can give a more detailed explanation to the poster. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And he's talking about how multi-sectoral teams can be able to work together on a common database, sharing the same database. A very interesting model, and I hope we get a chance to listen to it. Let's give a clap to the two, please. Thank you. Apparently you clapped for the second one. Can I give you 2 minutes to get your bags? Everybody's picked their bags. You shouldn't be having your bags in the hall. They're saying you have to pick them and come here. You're okay. I think I want to take this time to introduce us to the breakout session that we are entering into. Our focus, as I said today, is about knowledge management and seeing how that knowledge management can be managed and used to communicate agri-nutrition. Remember that agri-nutrition is agriculture and nutrition, and that for a long time, and as Humphrey has said very well, we have all been working in different silos or in different forums, different platforms, and now we have come to the point where we must work on a common platform to see how both agriculture and health will address the same issues of nutrition from different aspects can then be able to form synergies. The things and the focus we have for today is what is the capacity for generation, analysis, use of data and information, and what are the best practices in knowledge management and communication. And today we are honored to have 4 people, 4 different groups from different places who will be sharing with us what they're doing in order to enhance knowledge management and communication. Again, I challenge you to listen and see what could work. I think that's the question that I'll be asking you at the end of the day. What do you think out of the 4 models works best, or what can we integrate, or how can we composite these models so that we come up with a model that can work for Kenya? And I think, allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome Mumi Kimali, a market analyst from Farm Concern International and the Director of Sustainability. A very good title indeed, madam, because we are looking to go beyond today. Her topic is going to be, you said it's still going to remain the same? Okay, allow me. Today is day 1, so allow me to make errors. Integrated Commercial Villages Platform for E-Extension, Trade, Traceability, and Digitization of Farmer Informal Market Systems. 5-year outcomes. Abstract is not here, so I'll be asking you to listen. Thank you, madam, you're welcome. And then, who is helping me? You will be taking and passing it to people. Please do not snatch it, as I saw in the previous session, from your neighbor, and give me the chance to chair. Do you accept? Gentlemen, do you accept? You'll allow me to chair? Thank you very much.
Thank you for such a kind introduction, and it's a great honor to be here to share experiential outcomes that have gone on for the last 5 years. Farm Concern International, we are a market development agency that supports market systems in 10 countries, and we cut across different commodities. And so what we are sharing is really an outcome of lots of feedback from private sector, from our farmers, and from different players. And so it's not a one-off platform, it's been a journey. And so as we share the journey, I'm sure we may not be able to give every experience. I have a few of my colleagues, maybe you can just wave. Yes, thank you. Yeah, so Commercial Villages model is a system that we have been implementing for 15 years at FCI that is aimed at creating a business ecosystem that it allows interaction between the farmer, service providers, and buyers. And originally, it was really market-driven, but as time went by, we realized that commercialization puts nutrition and food at risk. And so, based on the feedback from our farmers and players, they realized that within a short time, anytime we commercialized a commodity, farmers tended to really just focus on those commodities. So we decided that anytime we are doing commercial village action planning, then we will plan for markets, food, nutrition, And later we also added the aspect of climate resilience, particularly when we realized that we could not meet the market orders. And so maybe to give you a very quick outline, that this platform was to actually create a digitization of that ecosystem between the buyers and service providers and the players. And we started off as a market system without any much focus on e-extension. And in the process noted that based on the feedback that there was a critical aspect to ensure that we offer extension. And that extension goes beyond, and so I'll just be outlining here. Unfortunately, my presentation did not jump, but you can always, we can always look quickly at this component. Now, in markets, for all of us who are working in markets, you realize that again, driving consumer demand is another big challenge. So for a while, in different countries, and particularly even here in Kenya, we focus a lot on nutrition marketing. Nutrition marketing in this context, we partner with the private sector, and I'm sure you have met us in supermarkets, in informal markets, in the streets, promoting different commodities, traditional African vegetables, promoting traditional foods. We have this slogan that is called Kijiji Foods, where we are making sure that there's a good attitude and image building of traditional food crops. So the e-platform comes then from commercial villages model, which is eKijiji. And so if you go online, you can always look out for ekijiji.global. And the platform is integrated to reflect the same ecosystem that I was mentioning. So it allows a farmer to be digitized, and then geo-coordinates of the farmer where they're based are actually picked at that point to ensure that there is possibility for traceability. And the product history is then built. It's Android-based. It's also geo-fenced in the context that for when you register a buyer and then you register a farmer, then they will be able to connect. However, the platform is not for the farmer. Every 3, 4, or 5 commercial villages in different countries have a commercial village trade facilitator who then captures the information about the farmer and aggregates. So it allows aggregation. So let me just show you the features very quickly. So it allows market research at different levels, allows farmer digitization, and then after that, we then make sure that we can track various history products or the history of the farmer and create traceability for that farmer. Then it allows market production in terms of market-led production, and then online pest disease reporting. So you're able to do surveillance and just capture any pest, any disease, any challenge. I had a challenge just connecting, but when you have a chance, you get to see it on the platform on this tablet. Then after that, we ensure that the disease reporting is then activated and responded to. So how does agri-nutrition come into this context? Sorry. Now remember, it is mainly trade, so we also capture prices, and in the process of, so we have regular prices for different countries, different regions, different commodities, and these ones are captured consistently. And then within the platform, then we have an extension module. The extension module has several commodities. Commercial villages are multi-value chain based, so we don't do a single value chain. So we have anchor value chain, complementary value chain, and then value chains for food and nutrition. To ensure that farmers then have an appreciation, particularly when we are doing the planning, and the buyers are also appreciating the knowledge, is to then ensure that information is available in a way that farmers can understand it. So for nutrition, for crops, for processed products. You find them available on the platform. But we had gone ahead after we discovered that women still couldn't understand. And so we have done local direct translations. Unfortunately, the only one I have here is in Kichechewa. We are running this program also in Malawi. Excuse me. So when the women come in, because even after you translate, they couldn't read anyway. So the translation doesn't really meet the need that we wanted. And so we have generated audiobooks where they listen in and make sure that it's in local language, and ensure that as many other partners have also provided content. So this is not just Farm Concern International content. So we've worked with the Ministry of Agriculture, worked with different partners to make information available. Besides that, short videos are available on the platform. So we have done short nutrition videos where you can watch, but then electricity became a big barrier for us. How do you deal with farmers who are off-grid? And so we went ahead, I wish I had come with that, to turn it into an off-grid kit. And so we have solar bags and have a full LCD projector, sound, and a PA system that runs for 8 hours without any electricity connection, just to make sure that we adapt as much as possible. The other bit that is here is where you are in a position to do acquisition of services or of technologies, and at the same time, a buyer can place an order. But the buyer does not come in because originally in 2013, when we rolled out the platform, we actually got some hoax buyers. And that's dangerous for us as an institution because it means that we cannot validate who is on the platform. So we have to register any buyer, any player, do due diligence, and ensure that as Farm Concern International, we are accountable for who is placing their order in the platform. Besides that, farmers came back, technology, we need these other different aspects. So you can aggregate orders for technology, you can aggregate orders from the buyers, but at the same time, you do production projection. So currently in the sustainability process is that we're looking and have worked with a number of partners to be able to ensure supply chain management, traceability, and food safety is then achieved through the platform. So product history, where you're able to generate a report, which chemicals were used, which farmer was buying them, where did they source from, you're then in a position to get that information. Then we went further and asked ourselves, how do we scale up and ensure that information is more accessible to farmers? And currently, we're in a position to do rural campaign, where you're able to blast out 1 million SMSs per second. And it's a multi-country platform, so we are able to send out information, 160 characters per SMS, with critical information either by a buyer or ourselves or a partner to farmers, and we are able to send to any country at any one time when you need the information passed to the various farmers. So when it comes to agri-nutrition, we have then gone ahead to simplify and come up with simple cooking demos, but most of all to ensure that nutrition and food safety and traceability are actually all put together and minimize opportunities for where you're not able to tell exactly where the produce is coming from. Now, when it comes to food safety, then short product history is built consistently just to minimize where farmers are or the supplier. It's difficult for any supermarket or any of the buyers to understand to what extent are these suppliers conscious about the food safety. So to date, we have 12,812 buyers on the platform. We have been testing this platform for 5 years with 68,000 farmers and done trade worth $8.86 million by the platform. That is not just the trade we've been doing, there's a lot of trade off the platform, but this was to ensure, and we highly appreciate the support from Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, as well as other partners who have also participated in ensuring that we can have a multi-value chain and multi-country, multi-commodity, multi-sectoral platform. So each digital global ensures that the village is connected globally, and at the same time, you can trace them where they are, you can be able to see what commodities they're producing. Besides that, we are now doing projections of what kind of volumes, as we see it right now, at the beginning of a season, can we say farmers are in this region, in this zone, producing or be expecting at about 1,000 metric tons or 10,000 metric tons, because for buyers, projection has become a big challenge. Inputs then became another big issue, and so right now we have an input module where farmers are able to specify which input, which company, what volume, and you can trace it to the actual farmer. And so we are keen to partner with as many players as possible to ensure that you can not only digitize farmers, is that on one platform. You don't have to take the 5 years journey that we have done. You're most welcome to partner with us and share our experiences. And additionally, is that we are not saying that now we are not upgrading it, we are upgrading it. And so lately we have added employment, number of employees, because most companies have been keen to ask us to what extent am I influencing employment along the supply chain. And so for all the players, we are able to map employment. Then besides that, we are now counting the number of trees. So when we digitize you, you tell us how many trees you've planted, and we'll follow up. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think, is there anybody here from the county? No, please. Oh, Compton. I know you are listening. That's that you give a big county stand to Mobi. I don't know how counties. Introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Jonathan Lagat from the county of Marakwet, the far in the county of Champions. So I feel like we will work together because it is also part of the partners that will add value, and we have a lot of farmers whose produce are getting. Yes. Now I want us to prepare ourselves so that we shower out with flowers. That's a very beautiful idea. So we need to direct it so that the ideas will come back to us.
Thank you very much. It's just to make it a bit light. She has talked about serious issues, and she's talked about issues of supply chain management, history, traceability, and sources, and really focusing on food safety. Allow me to be the first one, then you can ask the next question. I really have liked more to hear from you. What's worked in Kenya? Or if you have any particular crop that you worked, that has worked on in any other country? I get to ask the first question. Yes. And the next person can put their hand up. I'm standing there. Where's my person?
Thank you. So some of the areas we have tested is on onions in Kenya. So we're able to track the prices, the volumes, and then besides that, traditional African vegetables in Kiambu area. Then Rwanda on potatoes as well as beans, and then in Malawi, soya, maize, potatoes as well. So that means that even when I'm here on my platform, I can see every trade coming in right now. And then, sorry, I forgot to mention, when you open a module and train the system picks. So if I'm not training and I've not even touched nutrition, you will get to see how long you trained and whether I actually used that module. So in the areas where we have been testing it in Kenya, so now we are scaling up, and some of those zones, we can always show you some of the data. So we also have the farmer price offering and the buyer price offering. And then you're able to see a very big gap between farmer expectation and what the market is offering.
Thank you.
So those are some of the aspects.
Okay.
Right, kindly. For the second.
Good afternoon.
Would you mind to start?
My name is Francis.
Full names again.
My name is Francis Diambo. I work for Biodiversity International as a research, PhD research fellow. So my question is on your presentation is about whether you have looked at your work and done some assessments to find out the impact, especially on nutrition of your program, because many programs report numbers, like you met about 12,000 wholesalers and 68,000 farmers. Most people fail to see what the impact of your work or your platform is on your targets. Did you look at the impacts on food, nutrition, and all that, and how did you do it?
Thank you. You don't wait. Right? Can you remember the question? A second one? We just take 3 and then that will be done. Any other 2 questions? That's it. Jonathan again. Oh, then. Sorry. Then Jonathan will last. Any woman?
Good afternoon. My name is Jogona Kamau. I am from the State Department of Livestock. Thank you, Madam, for the good presentation. I remember you talked about the traceability, and you pointed out about the geo-coordinates, which are able to link where the farmer is and your system. And my question was, is it just the farmer that are you already tracing back to the farmer or to the product itself? Because I was expecting to hear something about the traceability of the product in terms of how, under what agronomic circumstances, or how was it traced and what pesticides, to be able to know it's safe. Thank you.
Last one, Jonathan.
Yeah, Jonathan Lagat is the name. I wanted to know, now that Kenya is devolved governments in terms of counties, so when you walk now, like in Kenya, are you dealing with the national government or the county governments? So that we're able to see how we fit in.
Thank you. So for the last question, I'll request my colleague to respond, Anthony, because I know there's some work that they are doing also at various levels. Thank you. Yeah, impact measurement is one of the major components that we have been following. And it's an impact, of course, we have multiple dimensions. So we are looking, of course, at trade, at sales, at consumption. And so even when it comes to consumption, we are actually mapping consistently to what extent is uptake, how frequent is nutritious products being consumed and being produced at the same time. And maybe just to mention that a couple of years ago, we did quite a lot of promotion of traditional African vegetables. We were on the radio, the TV, and everywhere, and the urban markets did a big uptake. We did an assessment, and we realized that the rural farmers were not consuming, they were actually selling. And they said it is for the Nairobi people, it is for the Kisumu people. And so consistently, our data showed that consumption was minimal. So we started off a major campaign to just ensure that there's consumption at the rural level at the same time. So yes, impact measurement is done consistently, so we have isolated impact dimensions that are captured consistently per village. And then we ensure that we also map, even as we speak right now, and tell you how much of traditional vegetables are in Kiambu right now, how much of sweet potatoes are in most of the regions in Western Kenya, because this is data we capture consistently. Besides that, we also capture yield. And in some of the areas, yield is dropping consistently. And so we are able to give feedback to critical partners to inform them what's going on based on the data that we are gathering consistently from the farmers. Traceability, yes, there's a traceability of the farmer, then there's a traceability of the product. I didn't want to get into the product because the product we are using, we have customized still on the platform, something close to blockchain, but for informal systems, where you capture the planting date and then any information is uploaded consistently. And so in case there's any new chemical, then you upload by the time to the harvest date, to the delivery date, and if it's an important product, then you have to capture the date it landed, because some of the importers we have realized when we go back to, particularly when we're dealing with the major buyers, you find maybe a commodity landed last year, and now it's being released now, and the conditions under which it was stored were not right. So product traceability has different parameters from the farmer traceability, and then there's a supplier traceability, because not every supplier is a farmer. So we all have different parameters. When it comes to the processed product, then the method of processing is captured, ingredients are captured, the date of processing, and the date of packaging, method of packaging, and the date of release. Yeah. So,
just half a minute, please.
Half a minute.
It's very interesting. Can we leave those two questions, write them down, then we ask them in the general forum? Is it okay? But it's a very interesting study.
Okay, Mr. Lagat, a question about county government and national government in terms of partnership. Our partnership is multi-sectoral, as she said, that because we look at the supply chains, the trade routes where these buyers are sourcing for commodities, it is not based on the national government or county government. It's actually across the board. Unfortunately or fortunately, the trade routes are not limited by those coordination levels. Those are coordination levels for functioning of the functions of the, for the sake of functions of the county and national government. But these buyers are crisscrossing across counties, crisscrossing across regions, and also every feature on the unique digital platform is suited to a particular user. For example, there's a module that is very good for extension service. It can apply very well for county government and extension service providers. There's a module that is on aggregation. It is a very good module for those village-based extension service providers that are aggregating commodity or input together with the buyers, either in Nairobi or even at the county.
Thank you, so that you don't repeat exactly what your counterpart said. Thank you, clap for Farm Concern International. Thank you. And now we have a chance to listen to Dr. Catherine Lengewa, the Technical Strategy Director for Social and Behavior Change at the Center of Behavior Change. We're going to be hearing about empowering rural smallholder farmers with appropriate high-quality agri-nutrition content using Digisomo talking book innovations. Please, the people who have questions, just write them, give them to this young man. He will be bringing them up here so that they can be addressed if we have time.
All right. Good afternoon.
The mic.
So thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Mumbi. That was a very interesting presentation. Very, very good, detailed, and quite insightful. A lot to learn from that. So I'd like to talk about another aspect of information sharing. And my topic is empowering rural smallholder farmers with appropriate high-quality agri-nutrition content using the Digisomo Talking Book innovation. This is the small gadget I'll be discussing, and I'll let you look at it later. So, now, as you may have noted, of course, with the theme of the conference, we are looking at improving nutrition outcomes. And increasingly, nutrition has become a very important component in the development agenda. And of course, there's a lot of focus on the integration of nutrition into different sectors, even agriculture. Now, as you continue to integrate, we always are faced with the challenge of sharing appropriate information of high quality. And so we keep exploring the new and emerging technologies that will help us to reach the smallholder farmers effectively. So this presentation is done on behalf of KCDMS that has partnered with CBCC Africa to improve nutrition outcomes through dissemination of nutrition-sensitive messages to smallholder farmers using the Digisomo Talking Book. This is just a brief of the Kenya Crops and Dairy Market Systems Program. Who the members are in this forum? Kindly just put up your hand. Thank you, Hannah, Brian, yeah, the rest of you. Thank you. Yeah, we are together in this. So this is a USAID-funded program working in 9 value chains in 12 counties. It's about agri-nutrition, and the beneficiaries are women of reproductive age and children under 2 years that are rural farmers. So I'll specifically focus on agri-nutrition behavior change using the Talking Book innovation. This is the Talking Book innovation. It is an audio, this is it. It is an audio computer. It's actually an audio computer technology. It's used by lead farmers. It's operated by lead farmers, and they used to share consistent, high quality messages and information in different forms, and with songs, dramas, interviews, and it's actually recorded in the language that the communities understand. As you can see, it has a speaker, microphone, and very simple to use navigation signs that would enable anyone who has not even gone to school be able to use it. And it has a USB port where we are able to download statistics. So the Talking Book can hold a library of audio content. When you say a library of audio content, it can have as many volumes content, health, agriculture, nutrition, water, anything. It has the capacity to hold a lot of information, and that makes it like a one-stop shop for a farmer. If they require to listen to any information, they can have access to it. So it has a built-in speaker that allows groups to listen together. So the format that we use is groups listening together and engaging in interaction. And then, of course, a microphone that enables the user to record feedback. So feedback, any questions that they have and all that. And of course a USB port which allows staff to plug in a smartphone or laptop to update content or collect data in the field, even in places where there's no electricity, because it doesn't use electricity. So the other thing is the Talking Book collects usage statistics and user feedback to help organizations monitor and improve their programming. You may wonder, really, what is this Talking Book all about? It addresses several challenges. We have implemented social and behavior change programs in Kenya and in Africa for a long time. And one of the biggest challenges we've had is really reaching out to people who have low literacy, and therefore expecting them to remember information even without having notes. Or you train health workers, for example, or you train farmers, and because of their literacy level, it becomes challenging for them to remember the information that is provided. So it sorts out the issue of literacy, because you have all the entire content in the Talking Book. Then looking at mobile, The second one is a weak mobile or radio network. You know that not all the communities have access to mobile or radio. And so this comes in handy because you actually do not need any network. Then the other challenge that we've always faced is inconsistent messages during sessions. So you can train a lead firmer who is expected to train the facilitator, and then through the chain, the information gets to break. But what this talking book does, it provides standard and quality messages. And then the cost of getting the expert to the field, and then inadequate measurement of message usage, over time, over the very many years that we've implemented social and behavior change, you will equip the lead farmers or equip the health workers or facilitators with dialogue cards or print material, and when it comes to measurement, you're not quite sure that they actually used the information. So this gadget helps us to measure performance analytics and measures, you get performance analytics which measures the usage. So we're able to know how often and all that. Then you also get user feedback. So what are the key benefits of this? We put emphasis on quality. So the standard and quality messages and content shared, whatever you record at this level, the farmers across different counties or different villages would have the same information, so it doesn't break. Then you get performance analytics, ability to measure usage, and it has an inbuilt analytics system. Then user feedback, you're able to record that, and of course low literacy. We reach out to people who are not able as well to read, and they're able to access the information in the way anybody else would access. Then reduce costs of sending the person to the field. Now, we try to compare this innovation with the other approaches that we have that are really good and useful. And we look at the talking books and see it overcomes illiteracy, encourages social discussion, usage feedback channel. Then you get information that is available on demand and available to all. There's an X in the places where this innovation does not compare, and a tick where we have, for example, if you depend on radio, you can't quite get accurate usage statistics, which we have used for a long time, but you can't quite tell if these people actually listened. And then if you look at passive people, really, there's just a limit in which you can be able to have people all over to share the information. So this comes in handy to do that. It compares well, and we are encouraged by it. What are the implementation steps? Of course, we do diagnosis and design the issues, and then develop and iterate and deploy the information. In this case, KCDMS has had 26 audio dramas, and then it has been deployed to about 100 talking books as a pilot, although it has been used in other places. Then we train trainers, and then we train facilitators who use the talking books and within the dialogue sessions with farmers. And then the fourth step is really picking the measure, monitoring, where you get the statistics, you get to understand the content performance and delivery by facilitators, and then evaluation. It's just a photo of some of those. And then just for the initial pilot that we are doing with the grantees within the KCDMS, we have deployed and developed 24 audio radios and audio dramas, and they're all recorded here, and then deployed in 100, and talking books. 118 trainers have been trained, and when we went to, out of the 100, 9 talking books have been used by one grantee with 9 big farmers. It's a very small pilot, but it thought it's worth sharing. So out of that, we have been able to pick 79 message completions just within a month. We have 9 farmers, 9 lead farmers, 9 talking books, and they played 79 messages to completion with farmers in their groups. This is about 4 hours of messaging, and they've reached 540 farmers. Now, this is the sort of statistics you get when you get the usage statistics from this. Out of the several messages that have been listened to, we are able to tell the specific messages and the number of times the messages have been listened to. Like you see, introduction to Kilimo Lishe, has been listened to completion 20 times in these few groups that we've had. Then if you look at the lead farmer performance, you're able to tell out of the 9 who is actually doing the job and doing well. So in this case, you see Joseph Kabalitsi has been doing a very good job, very faithful in evaluation. But you can also see someone there who, who something happened. So the beauty with this is really to be able to provide supportive supervision, just targeted supportive supervision to find out what exactly is happening and how. Then the sort of usage statistics you get, user feedback is, they actually ask questions like, another film asked, why are some children born disabled and yet the mothers ate nutritious foods during their pregnancy? So this helps us to get to develop very targeted information that fills in the gap that you identify during the sessions. Now, we'd like to share some results from the health sector. We've implemented this program in other sectors, and within health, in one of the programs that we have implemented over a period of time in Afya Tunisia, the results that we have seen, we found that on average, intervention facilities increased the number of pregnant women completing 4 antenatal visits by 110%, while in control sites with the same project without the talking book, only 7%, and in control sites with no project, we see that it's about 5.6%. So, and we've also measured another indicator on that. This is how it looks. We followed through, and this is how we intend to follow with the agriculture green nutrition project, where we look at intervening facilities, where the talking book is used, how have we performed over time, from the time we introduced and now, and looking at the control facilities. So we compared a few, and this is how we're seeing very, very good improvement of indicators, especially these ones that we are following. And so we are thinking that it is so targeted compared to radio, compared to any other way, people are listening, you're able to get usage statistics, how many times they've listened to the message, and you can be able to follow through. This is just an example, a photo of one of the communities that we are working in, and we are getting other interesting results that just build on the outcomes of the program. For example, there's a lot of interest in listening to the messages because they're finding people listening in their local record, you're getting the information shared in your local language and all that. So one CHB was just saying this thing is really good, it has made people get very interested in the sessions. The other thing, it reduces the workload. So if you give a whole module to a lead farmer and they go around, and then, for example, in the health sector, you have so many modules and so many technical areas, and a health worker is supposed to remember all that. So this helps to reduce that workload because you just play, they listen to the accurate information, and they're able to address and have discussions around that. Then some lessons, the statistics and the analysis of message usage has helped in understanding performance of message delivery at farmer level. So we are confident. One of the key questions the donors would ask is, how do you know that this message was played? How do you know? Many questions around that. Then user feedback helps in new content deployment and issues to address in supportive supervision visits. So we are keen to following through and getting that information. Then the simplicity and contextualization of the information breaks the literacy divide and enhances learning. As you saw, you have very rural farmers, very rural mamas, and they can listen. And there is no divide in terms of understanding because the information has been simplified. They're using a gadget they can understand how to use. They can navigate. You just need to know how to press the first button of on. Then it instructs you on how to go to the next module, and you can move from one topic to another and all that. Then, of course, some feedback from the specific grantees that we are currently working with. One said it's a powerful aid in training, facilitates understanding and engage the audience throughout the training session, and trainees reflect on real life and relate to the messages. Then, what we've realized that one of the lessons that we've learned also from this is majority of farmers actually, average age is about 45 years and above. And a number of them don't like reading or are not able to read, and so they actually prefer audio messages. So they've gotten a lot of interest in this, and most of them listen to that compared to the youth, who would prefer other, more dynamic, probably methods, maybe they have smartphones and all that. Then way forward, we're scaling this based on the lessons learned from the pilot which we are continuing to do, and it will be deployed. We'll deploy an additional 600 talking books to reach out to about 150,000 farmers in the next 12 months. 12 counties, in 12 counties across the 9 value chains in the next 1 year. So this is the way forward on this. Otherwise, we want to acknowledge Feed the Future, USAID, RTI, and KCDMS project that have made this program possible.
I clap for Catherine. Catherine, we want to listen to them.
Oh, you want to listen to this?
You've been telling us wonderful things now. And I'm looking at the gentleman who's sitting next to the woman in red. You're going to be giving me.
Bonyeza mkono wa kulia kuchagua somo. Lishe bora. Kujifunza kuhusu lishe bora, bonyeza mti.
Ujambo msikilizaji na karibu kwa masomo ya kilimo lishe. Kilimo lishe ni mwito wa jamii yetu wa kuzingatia kilimo.
Thank you very much. Seeing is believing. Please come in. Give a yes, you. Right? I've chosen you. You're over 45, so you're the right person to say thank you and tell us how you do it. And tell us who you are. You have also a chance to ask the one question.
Simameni, nimeona watu wamelala sana. Simameni. Chakula imeingia ndani.
Epa haha. Yaku. Acha bora niona basi ndio. Tutana kihe kachaja. Wakala kihe kile. Kapa wakaya. Jigira isio.
So we'll end up actually with a 38% increase in the impact of the total income. So the total impact, the fourth scenario, where we're saying that actually we are going to increase, if the government increase the amount of food, the amount of money that is going to spend within that particular locality, so that we increase this increase of production. And then at the same time, the Ministry of Education can also increase the per capita so that we don't just give at 10 shillings, but we can give at 9, at 11 shillings or 12 shillings. Now, that one is going to have what a multiplier effect, because the status quo is going to give us 2.696. We are going to end up with 16.982 billion as a result of just investing 2.6 billion. At the same time, because other foods will come from outside, we'll also end up with another 14.403%. Billion because of that. So we'll have 917% increase in the impact of the total as a result of what is going to be applied in our school, and an increase in the expenditure. So what are the lessons learned? So we say that actually homegrown school meals program will create a large multiplier in the rural Kenya, where actually they will transfer the resources to the program, and schools will increase additional 1.26 shillings out of investing only one shilling. So we are saying, second, the impact is not in the sub-counties where the homegrown school meals programs is located, because traders will shift and even get food from the high potential areas. Like for instance, the food that actually will go into Narok will come from as far as Nyeri or some other neighboring counties. And then third, modification of the homegrown school meals program, encouraging schools to buy locally and buy diverse and increases the impact of the homegrown school meals program, so that if the farmers and the households have complementary and intervention as they make the more production and to enhance the impact of the sustainability of the program. And finally, expanding the homegrown school meals program to all schools in the country is something that actually is going to be a big investment, and we realize that it will will require about 17.677 billion actually to do that. And this figure actually agrees with what a private member motion submitted in the House, in the National Assembly recently, and then actually we calculated if we were actually to feed all our children in this country, not just going to the arid and semi-arid alone, will require only 17.9 thereabout to feed all the children in the country. So the recommendations. So we are saying encouraging homegrown school meals program, schools to buy directly from farmers actually is going to have a multiplier effect, and it is also going to help our farmers at the same time as it helps our children. Giving schools the flexibility of spending the part of that homegrown school meals program to expand the food basket also actually will go a long way to increase the nutrition intake of the children and of course their cognitive development. So making homegrown regions and farmers more productive, we know that actually it is going to increase the income of our farmers actually within the areas that actually are supplying food, because as you buy any commodity, you are casting vote for the production of more of that particular commodity. Way forward. Continue disseminating the findings of this study in relevant forums. Advocate with the Treasury so that MOE and Ministry of Agriculture can increase the investment on this program. Utilize the evidence, the policy making, and of course expanding the design. And finally, the acknowledgement of those people who participated in the workshop, in the research. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Boniface. We have seen that the school feeding program has got very many good objectives, and we all know that if a community wants to prosper or make a difference, they must take their children to school. So one of the very good objectives is it increases enrollment, attendance, and cognition if we are to change this country. We also saw the scenarios he came up with. I'm sure you'll have a lot of comments, questions when it comes to question time on those various scenarios, and with that we'll have further answers. So again, thank you very much. Let's give him a full round of applause again. Yeah, thank you. There was one last presenter. I don't know whether she's with us. Good. Let's welcome Christine McKenna. Christine is going to talk to us about utilizing the school platform to reach adolescents with nutrition education and weekly iron folic supplementation. Sorry, we are a little bit into your time. It's 15 minutes, but we'll see what we can do. I'm sure you can. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. As introduced, my name is Christine McKenna. I work for Nutrition International, coordinating the adolescent program in the country. I'll be making a quick presentation on how the project has engaged different sectors to be able to reach adolescents. I'm happy that my previous presenter was talking about schools, because we are also mainly working in schools. So we look further into how we can integrate different approaches. So my topic is on utilizing multi-sectoral coordination mechanisms to reach adolescents with nutrition education and weekly iron folic supplementation. This is my bio. You can read the rest. I'll just say that for me, my favorite animal is a swan. I thought you were asked if you're an animal, what you would be. So I thought I would be a swan, because it's very calm at the surface, but very rough inside. So just a brief on an overview of adolescents globally and also in the country. At the global level, adolescents represent about 25% of the world population, which totals to about 1.8 billion. And out of this 1.8 billion, 89% of them live in developing countries. Statistics for Kenya show that adolescents make up about 23% of the population. So this goes to show us that it's a cohort that we cannot afford to ignore, because it's quite a big percentage of our population. And after infancy, in nutrition we all talk so much about the 1,000 days, because there's a rapid period of growth, and it's where once you are able to address nutrition issues at this 1,000 days, then you're able to have improved the nutrition and health status of that person in their adult life. But for adolescents, we look at it as a second window of opportunity. Some countries now are actually referring to it as the last window of opportunity after the 1,000 days window. And because it's the most rapid, it's the period with the most rapid growth for these young adults, and it also has the highest nutritional needs. Within the adolescent stage also, we have seen a coexistence of undernutrition and also overnutrition, where we have quite a high rate of overweight, obesity, which also now comes in with risk factors that are related to diet, mainly now the non-communicable diseases, which now start emerging at adolescent and later will affect this person in adulthood. We have about 30% of adolescents who are obese globally. Some countries have over 50% of adolescents who are stunted. So it's really a need that we need to address. Then we have an estimated about 30% adolescents are anemic, and according to WHO standards, anemia levels that are above 20% become a public health concern. Within the adolescent stage also, it's a neglected stage, yet it's very critical to human and economic development. There is need for us to invest in adolescents, because we get to have a triple benefit, where we have better health for these adolescents now, we have improved well-being and also productivity of them in their adult life, and also we reduce the health risk for their children, because at this point we are able to break the intergenerational cycle of malnutrition. So for Kenya, we have about 49 million population. We'll know this soon because we just had the census. And 60% of this population are below 25 years. 24% of them are below 19 years. Anemia prevalence among the women of reproductive age, because this is the 15 to 49 years, is at 21.9%. And remember, I just mentioned that if it's above 20%, it becomes a public health concern. Anemia rates for rural women of reproductive age go up to 24.6%. For urban are a bit lower at 19.2%. Then early child, in Kenya we also have early childbearing, where we have 25% of girls having given birth by the age of 18 years, and 47% of women report that they give birth before the age of 20 years. We also have early marriages in the country, with about 23% of girls being married before they are 18 years. We also have, we look at now the iron folic acid that I'll talk about, having an opportunity, because yes, if a woman becomes pregnant, they go to the ANC and they'll be given the normal IFAS for pregnant women, but the consumption rates of the 90 plus days goes down to 8%. So it's a missed opportunity. Looking at school enrollment, we have disparities in school enrollment and attendance among different age groups. As girls grow older, the enrollment reduces. So where do these girls go to? They are not in schools. So the justification of the project, it's highly recommended. The weekly iron folic supplementation is recommended by WHO as a public health intervention for menstruating adult women and adolescents where anemia is 20% and higher. We've seen the country statistics that our anemia rates are higher than 20%. And so the supplementation, the recommendation is a 60 milligrams iron and 2.8 milligrams folic. It's a supplement that is given once per week. You take, the adolescents take it for 3 months and they stop for 3 months because it's intermittent. In Kenya, we are also supported by the neonatal child and adolescent health policy that advocates for the promotion of interventions for adolescents, specifically looking at nutrition, assessment and management of anemia among the adolescent girls. For this specific project, we had 3 components. We had a component that was mainly working at the national level, looking at enabling environment for adolescents. Because even currently, we don't have data specifically on adolescents, like the 10 to 19 years. You have to either take the data for the women of reproductive age or take the data for school young children. So we are glad because of the project efforts and a lot of advocacy. The country is in the initial planning for the first adolescent health and nutrition survey for the country, which will now give us a specific data for adolescents. So the first component looked at the national level, looking at enabling environment, looking at the policy environment, developing new policies and strengthening the policies that were already there, looking at also multi-sectoral collaboration, which I'll be talking in details as we proceed, because the project had intense collaboration between the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, and Ministry of Agriculture. So at the national level, they also provide project oversight, technical support, and guidance. Then now in the demonstration phase, so initially from 2015 to 2018, in December, we were conducting a demonstration to look at different channels and look at different ways of implementing programs for adolescents. How best can we reach adolescents? Where are they? How effective are the different channels? So it was a demonstration, but now we are getting into the scale-up phase, using the learnings that we got from the initial demonstration phase. So the project's goal is to prevent and reduce iron deficiency, anemia among adolescent girls in Kenya, with 2 main outcomes on consumption of the weekly iron folic acid among adolescent girls, and also looking at improving knowledge, attitudes and practices on nutrition among adolescent girls and boys, I'm missing the boy child, and the boys. So yes, the girls receive the supplements, but the boys also really benefit from nutrition education and school gardens, because we also establish school gardens. And also we bring in influencers to be able to have nutrition knowledge. So we look at increasing access to nutrition education in the weekly iron folic supplements. Initially we worked in 3 counties, Busia, Kitui and Nakuru. Then we look at increasing demand for nutrition education, nutrition information and briefs, again for girls and influencers, teachers, opinion leaders and even boys. Then we also, like now in the scale-up process, we are really focused on strengthening capacity of available platforms to deliver and monitor nutrition education and the WIFs for adolescents and girls and boys. So the project methodology, initially we conducted a formative study which targeted adolescents, both girls and boys, and we were looking at understanding aspirations of adolescents, what motivates them, what barriers do they experience in even accessing healthcare and nutrition. Then now from that formative study, we were able to develop an operational guideline, training manuals, job aids. Again, it was jointly done between the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, the higher learning institutions and Ministry of Agriculture at the national and county level. Then in the development now of the behavior change materials, we use the adolescents themselves to produce these materials. And that's why later I will give you the slogan that adolescents came up with, that they say, answer to feel poor. It's something that came from them because we use them in co-creation. Then there was mapping of girls, both in and out of school, because in the first phase we were targeting both girls in the school and the school level and at the community level. Then the project also trained TOTs from Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, both at the national and county levels, and we had cascaded trainings now to health workers, community health volunteers, teachers and peer educators at the county level. Then we had linkages with the Ministry of Agriculture Extension officers who are now offering the training on establishment of school gardens and even home gardens for the out-of-school adolescents. We had coordination efforts at the national and county level. We had task force meetings at the national level and at the county. And we had sensitization meetings with the stakeholders, the community members, local administration, religious leaders and school administrations. So this is just to show you how the different levels of different sectors and different levels, both the national and county, were able to work together. So we had the main coordination happening with the national government, that is the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education and Ministry of Agriculture. Then now, there was support now of the project. They provided project oversight, technical support, guidance, and also we had technical working groups and a task force and a steering committee at the national level to oversee the project implementation. Then at the county level, we had the county departments of health taking lead and bringing in now education. Education again is split into Ministry of Education and the TSC. Then now the agriculture team supporting now the implementation of the projects at the county level. So we had the steering advisory committee at the national level. Then we had an adolescent task force that was both at the national and the 3 county levels. Then there was a sub-county adolescent nutrition task forces. Then the joint supportive supervisions were done now by all the members of the TWT, the task force and the steering committee at the county level, which included both the national and county officials. So for the results, I will talk specifically more on the results that came from the multi-sectoral approach, where we had we were able to attain additional county commitments. For example, the case of Busia County, we were only providing the supplement as a project. The county was able to provide 21,000 dewormers for the secondary school children. Then the Ministry of Agriculture also was, Ministry of Education was able to commit to supplementation through having their teachers commit to the direct observation method, where they would confirm that a child has actually taken the supplement and swallowed, and then they would report back to the different channels. So they would report on a weekly basis, and they would ensure adherence and that nutrition education was done. The case of Nakuru County, the Ministry of Water committed to ensuring the quality of water was safe for consumption, because when you are taking the tablets, you need to take it with water. So they ensured that the school children were provided with safe water, the adolescent girls, and the Ministry of Agriculture offered the expertise by providing technical assistance through the agriculture extension officers attached to different schools. So for the numbers, we were able to reach the project in the demonstration phase, reached 77,700 girls with the recommended dose of WIPs, which is having taken a minimum of 20. Now, if you remember, we are having a 3 months consumption, a 3 months break. So a girl should have taken at least 20 tablets for us to see that they've gotten the recommended dose. Then we had about 123,000 girls who took at least one WIPs tablet. Then we had 160,000 adolescents, both girls and boys, reached with nutrition education, and now the purchase of the nutrition supplements. The lessons learned from that demonstration, specifically to multi-sector engagement, to ensure participation and buy-in from all the relevant levels, because now we have different ministries, different sectors, different levels. There's national and county and sub-county, like they're very different. So to ensure that they participate, being multiple sectors, it is critical that all stakeholders are involved in the initial dialogues on the project implementation from the beginning. It is important also to consider the devolved government and the responsibilities of the national and county governments in designing programs and for ownership and sustainability. For example, I was very comfortable with Ministry of Health and Agriculture. You go to education, you realize education, they are even now in two. You have to go to Ministry of Education for schools, and you have to go to TSC for teachers. Then recommendations. So, multi-sectoral collaborations are needed for us to be able to provide comprehensive packages of interventions for adolescents, and even to add for adolescents in school. Because if you come today with your project, you go to school, tomorrow you go to school, at the end of the day, Ministry of Education will chase all of us from that school. So it is critical for us to have a collaboration and have a comprehensive package for school children, and specifically for adolescents. And also it's critical for us to recognize hierarchies that exist at different sectors and different levels, national, county, and community levels. At the community level, the church also becomes very strong and becomes an extra partner that you have to work with. So it's very key to ensure that you recognize all these hierarchies that exist to ensure that the multi-sectoral approach is successful. Programs that run across ministries also need to consider the difference in ministries, as I mentioned, the implications they have to the program implementation. For example, now we're in that term, you're from Ministry of Health, you want to go and supplement girls, Ministry of Education says, that term we don't allow outsiders in the school. So it's critical to identify the reporting timelines, the calendars, agents required to implement the programs, and permissions that you need for you to be able to implement the program activities. So I would like to acknowledge the ministries, as I mentioned, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, and Ministry of Agriculture, Busia County Government, Kitui County Government, and Nakuru County Government. In the first phase of implementation, we also implemented with PSK, so we'd like to acknowledge them, and Nutrition International. And with that, I would like to tell you to please note my slogan of ANZA, Kufil Poa. Thank you.
Hey, wacha nianze kufeel poa, sio? Hey. So thank you very much, Christine. Christine has been giving us a very good presentation on how we can reach the adolescent girls. Those of you who are there at the community level, I was amazed different girls as young as 13 years are mothers now, they are pregnant. So the earlier we start at the family planning, people also do their bit to make sure that we reduce the anemia levels in this country, the better for our girls, and all of us. And all the presentations have been able to show us how they have used multi-sectoral approaches to achieve a nutrition objective. Let's give a round of applause for Christine. And now I would want to welcome all the presenters to the front. Welcome. I hope I have somebody to help me with the mic, eh? So we have our 4 presenters in front. I'm sure you have various questions for them. We are supposed to have half an hour. We are now at 4:15. If we can stick to that, the better. So please do identify yourself and to whom you are directing the question. Welcome. Yes, please. Start with you. Yes.
Yeah, my name is Kenga. I'm a nutritionist from Kitui County. I have a few comments for the first presenter, Florence. I think I was motivated by the presentation that how we can tap in the engagement of men in our programming. I think it's very recommendable and good to see that projects that show the lesson, the best practices in terms of engaging our men. Because apart from enhancing the practice of nutrition, we're also struggling on how we can engage men on the issues of family planning, because we know family planning is also attached to the nutrition, isn't it? Yeah, and there are some cultures and the attitudes attached to it. All of my observation in most of this programming is that when you try to measure the performance of a program, especially during the implementations, you find that especially in terms of engaging the men tend to be, and even most of the programs, tend to be active during the implementation of the programs. And when you try to measure the performance, you may get a better indicator or a better perception in terms of how to engage the men. But then, when the triggers of the engagement of those men, when the program fades out, and later you come to measure, in practice and in most of the program, the results shows that there's not again. So my comments and my input is that it's good in such a program that even when you measure the performance during the programming, later after I will phase out, it's also good to measure. It's the same measure because it gives us what are the enhancers, what are the motivators, because whatever that was going on during that program as scaled down. So if this practice is still the same, what are those motivators and what are those attitudes that we can really learn from them, because the program phase was over. Then secondly, I want to just to mention a comment. I think in some programming, given the period of the program, you can measure practice like the second presenter. It's fine and it's good because it's a practice and we anticipate it is really the outcome you can measure from it. But for me, the first presenter, when you measure an impact in terms of nutrition status within 2 years, there could be some confounding factors. Within 2 years, 2017, 2018, to measure that, to have a reduction in undernutrition, it's good to look at whether there was some confounding factors. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kenga. Those are good questions there for Florence. Please keep them short. Keep them short and up to the point. Thank you.
My name is Kennedy Odongo. I work for Kenya Crops and Dairy Market Systems, RTI. I just have a comment for Florence that so I like your approach of involving men as an inclusionist, that we need to include everybody in everything that we do. And maybe as an encouragement to other people, we can learn from Florence's experience of including men in nutrition issues, the same way that we need to include women also in food production, given that men own the land and all that, so women are just there to work in the farms, but they do not play a major role. So if I could steal the strategy from Florence, that we could also use that strategy to help us in involving women in agricultural production. My other comment goes to Brian or somebody about the school feeding program. And then from a women empowerment perspective, we could use that approach to empower our women by helping them to be the people who should be supplying the foods to the schools. Given that women are the small-scale farmers, how then can we empower our women to be the people who are supplying these schools with the food? Given that the money comes from the school to the farmers, can we then find a way of how we can empower women, maybe to do aggregation or to do value addition to the foods, so that they be supplied to the schools as a way of marketing the products? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kennedy. One more.
My name is Anansi Madegu from the District Research and Development Center. I have a few questions. One of the questions is with working with county. I think the challenges didn't come out very well, especially, for example, how much are the counties putting in terms of money so that the program remains sustainable. Somebody has just mentioned that there's normally a problem with the fallout of the program, especially once the partner moves out. But what is the expression of the county, especially in monetary terms, so that we can be able to ensure that that the program remains sustainable? Because the challenges that I've faced myself is that the county probably don't want to commit in terms of money, but they probably want to commit in terms of activity. The second question is looking at how to calculate the percentage change. For example, when you look at anemia, are you able to look at a baseline, for example, with the facility, and then maybe it's around 8, and then after intervention you give, and then the HB maybe increased up to 12 or something like that. So are we looking at the impact in terms of percentage change, or are we just looking at impact in terms of quantities in numbers?
Thank you, Nancy. I guess let's have one more, then we go to the panel. Yes, Aina.
Thank you very much, all the four presenters, for sharing what you're doing. Mine is very brief. One is for West Pokot. I looked at your indicators and they're impressive. I just have a concern about the last one. Was it iron folic acid supplementation or uptake? Because if it is supplementation, then we have control. Getting 17% should not make us should worry that we have the mothers in the facilities, we are not able to supplement them, to clarify on that. Then about the school needs. Are these schools all over the country or specific places within the country? Because you're talking about Kenya, and I've not come across these schools in the country where I work in Kumasi. Then to McKenna, about the supplementation of the adolescent girls, I could see we did well in the distribution of the IFAS, we're doing 100%. But when it comes to uptake, there's one we're doing 62%, another one 76%. What was the gap? Why were we able to reach all the girls, yet the commodities were there? And then, how much does it cost to implement that particular program, now that we're doing a pilot in the 3 counties? Thank you.
Good. Now you have your work cut out for you. And we have quite a number of questions. I believe each presenter here has a question to answer. So what we will do We will just go down. You noted your questions, isn't it? And we have the only gentleman. So why don't we reverse this thing ladies first, eh? So let's start with the gentleman. One first. Start.
Thank you very much. I have two questions to answer. The first one is actually helping women to supply food to schools. We work very closely with Ministry of Agriculture when it comes to this homegrown school meals program. And Ministry of Agriculture are the ones actually who are responsible to mobilize farmers and put them in groups, how they produce, so that actually they can be able to sell to schools. And there's no discrimination. Actually, they include both men and women. And actually, if you look at the smallholder farmers, majority of them are women. So that is an opportunity which is very much open to them, and actually it can be upscaled. Okay, the second one, why are these schools not in Homa Bay? I talked of arid and semi-arid areas, and Homa Bay does not fall along the arid and semi-arid areas. However, we are upscaling. At the moment, we developed a nutrition strategy, where school meals nutrition strategy, where we need to upscale school meals program beyond the ASALs, beyond the arid and semi-arid areas. So in this case, we want to provide school meals program in a more sustainable manner, because even if the government is not able to supply to all the counties in this country, different stakeholders actually can get involved, including parents themselves, and this has been very successful in some initiatives that actually were done by NMK, Njama Fuku Kenya, also under Ministry of Agriculture, where they were only introducing actually school meals program to schools, and then the communities actually were to take it up. In some of these counties where NMK went, they have actually sustained the program, and the children are feeding. We took one of the counties, and actually they embraced it so much. So we were asking the neighboring school, would you wish your children also to eat in school? The answer was very positive. So in that strategy, we are actually moving out. We are not going to just concentrate in the arid areas, but actually we will go to the whole country. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonfas. I think if you have supplementary questions for him, we'll have another round of questions. Thank you.
Okay, I will first just comment on the question on how much are the counties putting in. To just mention that during, beyond the demonstration phase, now we're in the process of also having some activities around having discussions with the counties on direct resource mobilization. And now, in the scaling up, we are also not working with an implementing partner, but we are trying to fund the county directly, so that the county can also see the cost of the project and see how they can actually take it up when the donor is not there to fund the adolescent project. On the question on why there was 100% distribution, but the reach was not 100%. One, I would say that the purchase was based on the data that we had on number of adolescent estimates in the counties. But when we did the actual mapping, the number of girls was a bit lower than what we had used to do our estimations. And also, the uptake of the WIV supplement was not a forced uptake. The girl would be asked and would have the option to not take it. So it was a willing giver and a willing receiver. So there were some girls who refused to take it. Maybe their parents, because we had a lot of parent sensitization activities, But if your parent told you not to take, you are not forced to take it. Others had religious reasons. There are specific churches that don't take medicine. So they still view the supplement as a medicine and they refuse to take it, and we were not forcing them to take it. Then also looking at this being a demonstration project, we were also testing different distribution channels. In one county, we used the normal county distribution channel of pharmaceuticals, and that one worked very well. Another county, we tested the use of G4S and Wells Fargo, and it didn't work well. And so by the time the supplements reached the schools, it was already that term and schools were closing, so the girls were not supplemented. And also, due to delay, if the school closes, then we don't report any supplementation. And the project, the demonstration was closing in December 2018, so we were not able to report for that term, being October, November, December. So because the project closed, so we were not able to go back in January and get those numbers because the project had already closed. So we know for sure there were numbers that we were not able to report because we never went back to the schools to get the reports.
Thank you for your question. I will start with the iron folic acid indicator. It's actually uptake. And this was improved previously during the baseline. We realized the iron folic acid supplement uptake was influenced by the cultural beliefs, retrogressive cultural beliefs within the community, where they thought these pills would actually harm the baby or the mother. But through the care group model, main care group, channel of hopes through the pastors and the community strategies, we were able to sensitize them. That's why our indicator improved in the midterm evaluation. Then for the question on ownership and contribution of the county government to our project, for our projects, initially we included the governor to actually sign the MOU to ascertain us that they are also engaged. It's actually a matching fund. We support around 70% and they support around 30%. How does this work? A good example is when we're having our stakeholders forum, we make sure the government, the Ministry of Health take lead. So instead of supporting them going to hotels, we actually do the meeting is hosted within the county offices. So they are just within to make sure it's sustainable and there is ownership. Also, the governor promised when the project supports the health facility with equipment, he will make sure he brings on board health workers. Elgeyo Marakwet has around 130 facilities, and some facilities are just white elephant projects because of political ambitions in the previous elections. But through the MOU, he assured us, and the health facility we serve, there were no health facility, there were inadequate health facility staff. But through that conversation and including them in our annual work plan, they actually engage and they support. So we are rest assured the interventions we have beyond the transition of the project will be sustained. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for all the questions and compliments. I'll start with the first concern. Thank you for appreciating that male involvement is key, especially for health and nutrition projects. We have done quite a lot, and actually what we should tell my colleagues, it is the male that we really need to see how to involve, and then we will move up to including even ANC attendance. So even with the family planning, that is the way to go. I also agree with you. Follow up, as you saw in my way forward, is very, very key, because we're also looking at state behavior change, so that they are not just following the project triggers. And that is what we need to now go and further ascertain that are they still involved. Though if you look at
previous research reports, when men know their role or realize their role and they know what to do in child care practices, they really do it very well and very religiously. And that have even confirmed, even at facility level, through testimonies, whereby a man knows a mother should take iron and folic acid, they even monitor. So men are very religious. When they know the right thing, they do it good. In terms of data and measure of change, let me call it change, indeed impact. Impact usually can be confounded because it may depend on a lot of things. So probably I would change it to immediate results because if you look at the way as health sector we monitor our data, we usually compare periods. For example, if I was looking at January to March 2019, then I compare with January to March 2018 to at least minimize those confounders, and of course you'll be able to see a difference. If I say we weighed 500 children and we identify 156 this year, then you look, last year there was no data, of course there was something, there was a result. In terms of male involvement, then it can be confounding to conclude that the change is due to male involvement. But you could look at the change in terms of engaging from 6 to 44, that can be a measured factor. So for immediate result, yes, we can depend on the data that we collect at facility level or community, but impacts can easily be confounded. So I can say that the male directly contributed to all the statistics I gave. Now, for the second compliment, thank you so much. And of course, I wanted to clarify that women are actively involved in agriculture. And in fact, for Migori County, in the same region, they are highly overworked. And you are overworked and you don't see the proceeds. And you saw the figures I gave for the high poverty levels. It's because the proceeds don't go to the woman, but they do much of the work. And so probably some of the projects that will dissuade them so that or the couple is engaged in terms of even sharing the proceeds. That would even motivate the women. And so I'm looking forward to that, but I can tell you that women are highly engaged in agriculture. What they don't share is the proceeds of the funds from that hard work. Input of county funds, I think this was a cross-cutting question. Yes, because in my county, let me be specific, to my county, they've done a lot of allocation for nutrition budgeting. But the problem is now receiving the money. Disbursement is hardly done as per the allocation. And that is what drove me now to seek for integration. You look for where you can get boosters. And that is why we were able to make this change with very minimal or no county funds. I don't know about the rest. Thank you so much.
Yeah, maybe also to add on the main involvement in our structure where we have main care. We had very interesting findings during our baseline. We had a husband who actually plucked off family planning from the wife with his teeth because he believed this family planning is going to affect the mother. And it was a huge case. We had another one where many of them take their wives to deliver to their mothers, who are the mother-in-laws to the wives, because they don't believe or they didn't understand the importance of seeking health facility or delivering at the health facility level. But after having the qualitative survey in our baseline, we understood they don't understand. They don't know what's going on. And they were telling us when we empower women so much and leave us behind, we are actually the decision maker and the resource providers in our households, you will never go far. So we again introduced the main care model where we are seeing change. Like Marakwet men don't actually escort women to the health facility, either it's for clinic or delivery, but after being empowered in those groups of theirs, and they are made to understand it is important for you to accompany my wife, it is important for the children to be given immunization, it is important for the women to deliver at the health facility in case of any complication they are able to be assisted. We also had the husbands influenced by their mothers when the baby is being born. they are given concoctions, those traditional herbs, so that they can diarrhea to rubbish off that they have in the stomach. Even the mother used to be given oil, the tail of the sheep. They drink that fat so that the woman can drink diarrhea to cleanse her uterus. But they didn't understand there's a difference between reproductive and digestive system. So once they're empowered, they're like, oh, okay, then we're going to take our women to the hospital. We're going to support them. Even we're going to give them more resources to improve the nutrition and health status in the household.
Thank you very much. So it's all about really getting involvement, participation, and collaboration at all levels. There was one question, I'm not sure whether it was addressed, maybe I was still looking into my body here. Nancy, how do you calculate percentage change of anemia or something like that?
Yes.
Was it addressed?
No.
Okay. One question that was not addressed, then we will do this. And I think that is Christine.
It was my question.
Yes.
So you asked how we calculate what?
Just give them the mic.
Sorry, my question is, how do you calculate the percentage change, for you to actually be able to say that we have actually been able to reduce anemia from this particular percentage, because that is very critical. Let's say, for example, this baseline was not done and you don't have the data on let's say, for example, how much anemia was there before. Is it possible to actually look at a study which was previous and maybe do a comparative study so that you can actually be able to know whether the program is having an impact or not?
Okay, so for now, the project has not gotten to the level where we start measuring the change in anemia levels, because we have been trying to strengthen the delivery platform and the capacity of the counties. So what we have been testing is we report the reach and the number of adolescent girls that we have reached, and we are able to measure their dietary diversity scores, whether they've improved in diversity. But we have not gotten to the point where we can do a survey on the anemia levels yet. But if we were to do it, I think we would go the comparative way, because we cannot ignore that there are other interventions that are happening at that county.
Thank you. Panelists, you're doing well. So we have one more round of questions, and we'll take again 4 questions, moja, because we are supposed to be ending in the next 5 minutes.
Just give her the mic. Sorry. Chap kidogo.
Thank you. I really want to thank the presenters for the valuable information. My question is, I'm not so sure that it's a question or just a comment or something that even the panel will have to discuss at some point, but I'm more geared towards how much effort are we doing in this multi-sectoral approach we're using in terms of ensuring that the 10 to the 10 years old nutritional status is monitored regularly. I know, Christine, you mentioned that efforts have been made right now to assess the nutritional status of the adolescent. But then again, when I look at the approach and the beautiful models that Boniface gave, you almost want to ask, this is a target group that is in existence, it is somewhere in place. What makes it really difficult for us to train the teachers what makes it difficult for us not to train the teachers to take the anthropometric measurements of our children in school, the 10 years up to the 19 years if they're still in school? Because it's a model that I've seen in the Philippines, it works very well. At a peak of a cursor, you can know which child or which children at the beginning of the term that are nutritionally okay. And at the end of the term, you can be able also to know what their nutritional status is. We honestly don't have to wait until DHS results of whichever year to be able to know the nutritional status of our children, especially the adolescents, and let's say especially 10 years and above, or children that are above 5 years old. The ones who are below 5 years old, we know are clear indicators, and we can run that nutritional status or assessment anytime, whatever the government wants, whatever the donors are able to give the money. But we have a target group that we can actually do this every moment we want to. Beginning of the term, end of the term. All we have to do is just make sure that the schools have their anthropometric measurements, and the charts are all over there. The WHO charts are there. It's really an open question.
Thank you. Let me have one more because the bell has rung. One more.
Pale.
My name is Jane Masambia. Mine may not be so much of a question, but about the school feeding program. I would like to know if the nutrition value of that particular food that is given to the children is actually enhanced. Because some of the schools I've seen, I usually see the children just eating maize. You can actually count the amount of beans inside that plate of maize. So I want, as we talk about agronutrition, do those schools or do those meals really enhance the nutrition value of that particular feed? Let me give you the last one.
Thank you. It was something on the same. And also if you look at this, is it a pamphlet or a flyer? Whatever. It depicts just maize and beans. And there's more of carbohydrate. There's nothing on diversification. And we know that even in these some areas now we can grow vegetables in bags. There are technologies we can use to help the farmers grow vegetables. And then again, it doesn't say what kind of foods the farmers are encouraged to grow. It just says they are encouraged to grow foods for school. It doesn't specify, so it leaves it blank.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I think we have 3 questions.
Hello.
There was one more?
Yes.
Well,
Back here. My name is David Mosek from Makueni. I have a question and also a comment at the same time. And it regards the same matter being raised by the ladies there. To what extent are we actually monitoring the quality of the food? And specifically, are we making any effort in introducing an animal protein in this diet that we give the kids in the school feeding program? We have options that we see the board here. We also eggs, also forms of meat. So to what extent are we making that effort? Because I feel that the extent to which we expand the program, we can begin doing that in small ways. And then the other one is because of different feeding habits, these foods are spread all over in the various parts of the country. And we have been arguing that we are not doing so much to promote the consumption of traditional foods, the millets, the cassava. So are we also taking this as an opportunity that we can promote the consumption of this in kids? So I'm saying so because I would encourage that to happen. Yeah, like in Okambani, they don't make the millet, yet it is only the thing that grows best there. Elsewhere, they don't want whatever that's going there. And then as a country, we are concerned because of the nutrition and the kind of things that we produce as consumption. Those concerns. Thank you.
so thank you very much. So we have 4 questions. I think 3 of them are all geared towards school feeding program. And there is one that is cutting across in terms of how much effort is being done to routinely monitor the nutritional status of 10 to 19-year-old in this country. So any of you can take that first one, and then the rest will be going first, and then of course to continue.
I'll try, especially for monitoring of nutritional status, though I know it did not come into my presentation, but I want to give a case of what I do in my county, because I introduced a project on early childhood education, nutrition, and of course we trained teachers on how to take homework which was just to help us in terms of rapid assessments, especially the times that we think there's drought period, just have a rapid feel of how the county is. And you find per sub-county like 30 schools, so the teachers just do work, and then they text me the status in terms of all the children. They also document within the register. But I agree with you, we can even have weighing scales. The teachers do a good job. The only challenge is now, even our facilities, health facilities, we have inadequate weighing scales and other anthropometrics. Where will we get to give to the schools? So we better start small, but for the work tapes, it's a bit easy. You just have one for the entire school, and you're able to use it and at least get a feel of the county in terms of nutritional status. The work can also give very serious errors if somebody doesn't know how to use it well. So that is the challenge.
Okay, I think I can also comment on that. Just based on that, Nutrition International has been participating in the developing of the training package for the healthy diets and physical activity for the country that captures the adolescent nutrition assessment very clearly. And I think it's just as stakeholders within that we are concerned about adolescents to push for it more, because even the school health policy supports nutrition assessment for all school-going children. But I would also ask the question is why it's not being done. The teachers also don't have enough adequate knowledge on the assessment. As my colleague has mentioned, the equipment are also not adequate. And it would take training and also awareness and also advocacy, because a teacher will quickly say that you're giving them an extra job to do. So I think it's something that now it's time to think about it, because especially because of the healthy diets and physical activity training package, I know it's something that is being taken up at the national level for the continuous nutrition assessment for all cohorts. So I think it's going to be something that is being discussed.
Thank you very much. I think you got something to add there?
In Enrich project, we have a component of sexual reproductive health that we do target women of reproductive health. Now, those girls in school, all children as a whole, are also our target. And how do we make sure we assess their health and nutritional status? We have activities that are in school and out of school. Activities in school, we engage our CHWs, the community health workers. We have around 625 health workers. Each are assigned to the school within their village or within their location. So we have, on a quarterly basis, after 3 months, they have an outreach nutritional assessment done within the school. So we keep track on the nutritional assessment. And then out of school, when they close schools in the Easter holiday, August holiday, December holiday, we host events. We now being context-based, example in Elgeyo Marakwet County, which is a home of champions, people love to run. So we host events, running events for the youth. We categorize them, they run, we give them presents. In that event, we have a guest who are the warden mates, the local authority heads, where they have talks to the youth. Again, we have camps where they're being assessed, nutritional assessment. We have HIV and AIDS tents. We have cancer screening tents. All those are being aligned. So we monitor and we can really gauge what level is there progress, is there deficient, and after that we sit at the monthly steering committee meeting and we address those issues.
Okay. In addition to that, it's doable. What Shana said is doable. We can monitor this cohort. I schooled in a settler school right after independence. And the first thing the expatriate teachers were doing was to take our weight. They would be there for 3 months, and at the end of the term, they take our weight. There were teachers, just like the black teachers of today. Why should the teacher now complain that it's an extra time? That is part of the job description. So it can be done. And it should be done. Parents out there are building classes. They're even building gorofas, not the ones that are collapsing yet. They're building good gorofas in primary schools. They can buy a weighing scale. They don't have to wait for the teacher. Silvio? Yeah. Now, The remaining questions, about 3 of them, are for Boniface. This group here can't see you. You know what? I'm scared to sound. I hope you don't mind them. If you can maybe stand here so that they see you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the questions. You know, when you talk about school meals program, it is actually a support service to the curriculum implementation. In other words, you don't expect that this child will only stay with the food that he has taken in school. We also expect that there's something happening at home. 2, in school meals program, we say that actually we need to involve all the stakeholders. And the biggest stakeholders are the parents. So whatever the government is giving, we believe, and actually if you look at all our guidelines, if you look at whatever material that we normally produce, we say that actually we should not rely on only what the government is giving. We encourage the school administration, whether they have land, it can be cultivated so that things like vegetables, even fruits, can actually be grown in that school, and it can be used actually to supplement school meals. What about the meat and the animal protein? Yes, it is possible. It can be done, but in the model that actually we are implementing in Kenya, it is a bit difficult because in terms of cost and all that. However, there are some countries which who actually implement other models of caterers where they identify different caterers to prepare meals for different schools. I saw that model working very well in Ghana and other countries as well. So here, he is actually able to even to include things like fish, meat, and other things. But this one's actually to be cooked in school. Yeah, it is a bit difficult. That's what I'm saying. In terms of model that actually the government is implementing, it may not be possible because in terms of cost and even storage capacity of our primary schools does not encourage that. Consumption of traditional crops like soca, millet, and all that. Yes, we only give children what is being consumed within the locality. However, because the Ministry of Agriculture is actually now encouraging the growing of these crops, if we continue to encourage the community to embrace them, as we continue them, it is open. And otherwise, if you look at our guideline, the guideline, homegrown school meals guidelines, we have several food items which actually the community can choose from. Actually, we do not even restrict them. If you go by our guideline, even if you feel that if that money can be done, the issue is the cost. If what the government is giving you, are you able to buy meat with it? But if you look at the food basket that actually we have provided in the guideline, there are several options. But the issue is the affordability. And with regard, because we are giving maybe 10 shillings per child per day. If it's a school of about 300 children, we just multiply that one by the number of days in one particular term, and then by the number of children. So, but you realize that if you go to these other foods, it may not be work really. But as we move, and as we move beyond ourselves, we are saying it is the members of the community to choose what their children should eat. If they value that nutrition food that actually you feel that actually the children should take, then the parents will contribute.
Thank you. Thank you very much, our presenters. We've had a very good afternoon. We had very, very informative and professional presentations. I really want to take this opportunity on behalf of all the participants here to thank you for a job well done. And we want to give them the final appreciation because they have fed us with good information. Let's give them 3 good claps. Moja, Pili, Tatu. Thank you. Now, for a few logistics, kindly remember to view the posters and all the people who are presenters of the poster, the exhibitors, kindly be buying your poster. There was an error on the program that there will be a cocktail. So sorry. There's no cocktail. And tomorrow morning, we start 8:30 sharp. 8:30 sharp. Not 9, not 8:45. So do have a blessed evening. Thank you very
Wacha nipeleke hii kwanza. Nikuja. Haya. Sawa. Let's go.
The findings we are also
Oranyala.
Unaandaa kila page.
Waida hapa.
So you can